Installs in Carindale and Tingalpa.
You nearly finished, Janessa.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
It's looking good.
Bed, which is awesome.
Time to pack up Roma Street Parklands, and we're sharing the exact quoting tool our team uses for free.
The tool has been set up in a way that you can then go and change it and add something, take something away, and I'll show that to you.
Welcome to Foxy TV, episode 61.
Let's figure it out.
Pulling it down. 3 in a car, 1 in a truck.
Valuable and adding value for your clients.
That's right, a big episode, particularly for the home stagers out there. The quoting tool information, the run through that Jake's going to go through is right at the end of the episode. So for people who aren't interested in it, there's still plenty of content here for you. And for those who are interested in the quoting tool, we're giving it away for free. We're sending it to you. All you have to do is comment or send us a message, get in touch, and we can send that to you. But more on that later. Let's start the week off with, well, the start of the week. Coffee's being made. Just going to see what's on for the week. Hey Phoebe, can you tell Foxy TV and Instagram stories what's on this week and what's on today, Monday morning?
Today, boys are out doing a removal this morning, and then we've got a pack up of a house that's sold in 10 days, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Actually, that was the one you did the walkthrough for, the comparison of empty versus
Back to you.
That's Russ.
Oh, Russ.
And
Ghosted.
Russ, yeah, we've got 3 installs and a couple, lots of pack ups. Don't know where we're going to put everything, but yeah.
Not too much to show for Monday really, so on to Tuesday. Here in Carindale this morning for an install. How are you this morning, Janessa?
Good.
You good? Yeah, good. What have you been up to today? Pack up already?
Yep, so the boys are finishing up at a pack up in Cooperoo. That one is sold, so that's pretty good. And now we're
Doing an install. How big is this one?
Decent size, 5 bed, 2 living.
Cool. The team had another pack up in Clayfield after the install in Carindale, but I didn't follow them with the camera, so let's move on to Wednesday. The loading bay is all ready for the install later on. The truck is back. Russ and Cam are off to Roma Street Parklands to pack up 2 apartments at the one time. While the team were out, Jake sat down and recorded a walkthrough of the quoting tool. We're going to show that after, but first let's have a look at the install in Tingalpa. Drive here in Tingalpa, and truck's already gone. You nearly finished, Janessa.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
It's looking good.
Bed, which is awesome.
Looking very good. Alright, it's time to walk through the quoting tool with Jake. This is going to take up the rest of the episode, so if you're not interested in the quoting tool, totally understand, and we'll see you next week. Otherwise, if you are interested, I hope you find this valuable and helpful. And if you do want a copy, simply get in touch, comment on this video wherever you're watching it, send us a message or an email, and we'll send it through free of charge, no obligations or anything like that. We'll send it through via email.
What I'm going to do today is share our quoting tool, the tool that we use or the Phoebe uses mostly to create all of the quotes that we send out to potential clients. So after a consultation has taken place, Phoebe will go through this tool, put in the information, and it spits out the details, number, the final number, but some other information as well. Before I go into it too much, I guess I just want to give the reasoning behind why it's set up the way it is. So we've done this ourselves, so I'm a bit of an Excel nerd, so I've gone in and created this. The point of it is to be something that's very easy to use is the first point. So there's a lot of formulas and stuff in the background, but from what you can see, it's supposed to be very easy, and hopefully Phoebe would agree with that. It's also supposed to be quite fast. So a lot of the information in here, which I'll go into in a minute, is set up in a way that is all about standard furniture, standard rooms, standard numbers. So in setting it up, we went into the background and said, what are the rooms that we do most often, and what do they look like from a furniture or accessory linen point of view? Like, what goes into them more often than not? Now, the tool has been set up in a way that you can then go and change it and add something, take something away, and I'll show that to you. But it really is driven by the fact that 80% of our rooms are fairly standard. So that obviously takes away a lot of time if we can say, well, a standard bedroom has these things, and in this case, if I'm looking at a particular quote and I say that's what I want it to be, I can just click a button and it already includes all those things. So let's dive in. I've got a few tabs in this spreadsheet that are in the background, and the point here is that they're set up at the start, and then you don't really have to touch them again. You can, but you don't have to. So pricing guide, this is where we can, and these numbers aren't our numbers, I've just put in some standard things, but maybe you want to calculate some pricing for your furniture and everything based on buying stock and needing to know how quickly you can pay back that stock. So maybe you need to pay it back in 3.5 or 4 jobs or whatever the number is, so you can plug it in there. There's also, I know some people, and we were like this for a period of time, where our pricing was based on what we hired it for plus a margin. So you might want to plug in your hire costs and then put a margin on, and it will spit out some numbers that you can then put in. So this sheet is all about calculating some of your numbers. The next 3 tabs I'm not even going to go into. I'm happy to individually if somebody has a question or wants to see it, but I just don't want to get bogged down and take too much time. But essentially this is where we put in all of our standard things. So our standard rooms. So what does a master bedroom, a small master bedroom normally look like? What does a deluxe master bedroom normally look like in terms of furniture and accessories and artwork and everything? So that's where we put it in standard rooms. Standard packages are also things like, what does a first example that comes to mind, what does a bedside table package look like? So that might be a bedside table with a lamp, with an accessory like a book or something. So it's about setting all those things up in the background, and then when you actually get to doing a quote, which is what I'm going to do now, we go straight over to this number 1 room selector sheet, and off we go. So I'm going to do an example for a 3-bedroom, combined dining, living, and an outdoor deck. That sort of house. So I'm going to keep it very standard, and I'm going to show you. So this is kind of how quickly it can happen if it's fairly straightforward. Obviously, if there's differences or weird layouts, floor plans, or particular rooms are weird or small, different sizes, shapes, those sort of things, you might have to spend more time, but this is going to be very easy and standard for an example. So here we go. Street address is just going to be a random street, and my suburb is anywhere, just for this one. I've got version 1 and I've got a date so that I can refer to it later if I need to, and if I want to do a second go at this based on feedback from the client, I can do that. Down here I pick the rooms. So I'm going to say we've got a small master bedroom, we're going to have a double room and a single room. I'm going to include kitchen, and I'm going to say on our deck we're going to have an outdoor lounge. And inside I mentioned a combined dining living, so let's say it's a family living room, and I'll show you what all this means in a minute, and a 6-seater dining, and then we'll leave it like that. So that's our house. Now I come down here, and here's where I can enter a name for each of those rooms in case I want to call it something that means something to me, like front room, or room 1, room 2, or however you identify or remember your rooms. That's where this comes in. So I'm just going to call it the master, the double, and a single. Kitchen can be left like that. I'm going to call it the outdoor deck, and we'll have the living room and the dining, and that's it. Before I go on, a little pause on my time, but I just want to show you if I decided that, and actually what I'll do is I'll come down here. My master bedroom small, which I've selected in this example, I've got this thing down here, preview, where you can actually, if you forget what's in it, come down. So my default is to include a queen bed package, which is, I've set it up to include all the linen, scatter cushions, everything else that goes with the queen bed. I've got 2 bedside table packages, I've got the artwork, and I've got room for a rug if I want it, but at the moment the default is 0. What I could do if I actually wanted to add, say, a bed head or something else, is I can come over here and I can actually set up custom rooms. So this is where the unique rooms, or if you want to change something, you can do that. So I might actually come over here and say, well, I want a pretty normal master bedroom. So I've got a queen bed package, bedside package, and artwork that I mentioned down here. But I'm also going to add a bed head, and I'm also going to add one occasional chair for the corner. So that's where I could do that, and then I could come back over here and say, I now want to add custom 1, which is what I've just set up. So it's fairly straightforward to add things to particular rooms if you want. I'm not going to here, but that's just to show you how it happens. So I've selected my rooms. I now go to the detail, and this is where you probably spend the most time, because for every room you've set up, so master bedroom, I can come over here, I've got my queen bed package, and it shows me all of the items that I've set up in the background that it knows I want in a standard queen room. So the queen bed, the bedside table, artwork, floor rug, everything else, and it's got default quantities. Now here's where I go through and I can zero things out if I don't actually need them in this case, or I want to increase it. So I'm going to do that with a couple to show you. Maybe on this one I actually want 5 scatter cushions instead of the 3. Maybe I do want to put a rug down, so I'll put a 1 there. And let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that we're using the artwork that the client has there, so I actually don't want to take one, so it's a 0. I could do that for every room. I'll go down here one at a time, and if there are things that I need to change, I'll do that. Let's say I want to also, on the outdoor deck, I'd like to put an outdoor 3-piece along with the lounge that we've got in there as a default, so I'll put a 1 there. And that's it. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but the point of me showing you this is to say that there is the room to be flexible. I can make changes here and add numbers or take them away as much as I need to. So I'm not sure what, maybe I'll put an extra piece of art in the family living room because it's a big room. Again, I'm not the stylist, so you probably can think about how you would use this better than I am. And that's it. That's all set up now. I've gone into the detail. At that point, I go on and I'm done. So this is, well, I'm done as a first pass. So from here I go over to the quote, and this is showing me the numbers based on the standard, not standard, but just default pricing I put in. So there's no real, these aren't our pricing in Foxy, this is just standard stuff. So a rental cost for on a weekly basis comes up, sets it to a 4 weekly hire at the moment, which seems to be default, at least in Brisbane, for a lot of the hire companies. A lot of the staging companies do a 4-week plus 2 free, or 4 plus 4, or whatever it is. So that's how they calculate it. There's also room here to put in transport costs estimate. So if you do that externally, you can put in how many hours you want to estimate for both the pickup and delivery and what the rate is, and then an insurance cost if you include that, to give you a total. So this is the number that would go onto a quote to the client for us. So we'd look at that, and that would be the number. There is also room here to say, well, if I hire furniture, what is my estimated cost there? So I can calculate that I'm actually making a profit, which is important. And then finally, a profit margin estimate. So if I know what my revenue is based up here, and this is excluding GST, I've got my transport cost. If it's external, I can put an estimate for stylist time and wages in there, and it'll give me a profit margin. So again, important to make sure that you're making a profit there. I do have other things here, like a breakdown of the total cost by room if you wanted to see that. So you might want to know roughly what a standard double room costs you if you were to add it to a quote. They're just an important number to have in your head when you're talking to agents or clients, in case they ask, well, what does it cost for an extra room? You can know that. And then that's it. There are 3 tabs at the end here, which I'm going to show you very quickly, because these are just more in case a job is confirmed, they're for printing and using in the selection process. The first one is a list or a summary of the furniture. So all of the bigger pieces of furniture that we've included in the quote when we've gone through and selected the rooms, this summarizes it. The next one is what I'm calling the fluff list. So it's again, same thing, but for all of the fluff, the smaller accessories, linen, artwork, lamps, throws, all of those things are summarized here by room. And then the last one is kind of a summary of both, which is printable. I've set this up so you can print it out. And what it does is it shows you the furniture and the accessories here, color-coded, that you've quoted for. It gives you room to put in comments if you're need to leave a comment for your stylist who does the selections and the planning, you can put things there. And then there's also room in case what you quoted ends up being different than what you actually take, because I know that happens here. In case you need to keep track of quantities of things, you would put that in here. So this is a printable sheet. I would physically print this out and have it available for the stylists once the job is confirmed. And then, yeah, it's used as a tool in the selection. So that's it. That's the quoting tool. You can see that happened pretty quickly. Obviously, you would spend a bit more time on the detailed view if you knew that there were some rooms that were a bit tricky and you wanted to play with. If you got to the quoting point here, the number, and you weren't quite happy with it and you wanted to tweak it, you could go back and change some of the things as well. So that's our quoting tool. As I said, I'm happy to go into more detail if there's particular questions. I wanted to keep it fairly quick and easy and kind of keep it more of a broad view. But yeah, happy to go into the detail if people have questions. So that's it. Enjoy.
Thanks so much for watching Foxy TV episode 61. Again, if you are interested in the quoting tool, get in touch and we'll send that one through. Enjoy the weekend and we'll see you next week.